Well, the weekend has come to an end, but we do not end things here. So today we're just going to focus on AEW Double or Nothing. So, as you know, this is a very iconic pay per view. As you all remembered, this was the very first pay per view before they started television, and I can't wait to see this. Now, of course, in the past it used to be in Vegas, but now it's in New York City, of course, at the Louis Armstrong. And I can't wait to see how this was going to turn out. We got title matches, grudge matches, like the Stampede, the Stadium Stampede, which is going to be epic. So I can't wait to go from A to Z on this one. And then, of course, as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events and promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got to Nagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers, let's get started. So, as I said, it's going to be only a one review episode only, so it's time to double or nothing. So, AEW time. AEW Double or Nothing. Now, let's begin, of course, with the buy-in. Now, the rumors has been circulating, but now it's true. Renee Paquette and, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Bang Bang. That's right. Mick Foley has made his appearance. Now, of course, there were some bit booings that happened during that time, but however, Mick Foley kind of changed what exactly the main reason why he appeared in AEW. He said that when this company came around, they made him fall in love with wrestling once again, and I think that's the thing that many people don't understand. Like, WWE may be a good promotion, but can they give you the kind of love for pro wrestling that you always wanted? That is something that's been talked about for a long time, but it's great to see him. We didn't mention him, see him a couple of times, but we'll get to the end of the buy-in, of course. Now, we open up with the AEW Women's World Tag Team 5-minute a challenge eliminator, of course. We did have Zeta Steel and Viva Vang being accompanied by Christopher Daniels. They take on the Divine Dominion. Now, this match, well, let's just say it could have ended after a 5-minute, but it did not. It ended, of course, with the Divine intervention onto Zeta Steel, and, of course, 1, 2, 3 by Megan Bayne. Divine Dominion win the match. However, they decided to caused more carnage. First, they attacked Christopher Daniels, but they decided to demolish Viva Van until Ty J showed up with weapons. Now, obviously, this is what I was talking about. They did mention about unfinished business, and of course, Ty J has unfinished business because many people can agree. They started out as a solid tag team before the AEW World Tag Team titles were, of course, mentioned. And people would have said they should have been the first. But let's see how things go from there. Our next match, we have the Death Riders, Daniel Garcia, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio taking on the Ops. More specifically, Anthony Bowens, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. Now, as you know, the Ops have their issues towards Will Ospreay because he was, in fact, in training with the Death Riders. And their boss, Samoa Joe, has a problem with it. But they will deal with each other later on, as we see. But however, in the end, it was Anthony Bowens that ended up taking the fall after Claudio applied an uppercut on him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our next match, we have all members of the Shane Taylor Promotions. Of course, the Infantry, Carly Bravo and Sean Dean, Lee Moriarty, Anthony Ogogo, and Shane Taylor. They take on the Conglomeration, more specifically Roderick Strong, Mark Briscoe, and of course Orange Cassidy. They team up with Boom Doom, of course, QT Marshall, and Big Boom AJ. And I thought the match was pretty interesting. Now, one thing that was funny is the fact that if you guys saw last time, one time, Rizzler was, of course, getting in look in his eye view of Christian XO until Harley Cameron, who is like an associate of the Conglomeration, decided to, okay, divert that attention. But later we did see a girl brawl between them. And I thought it was pretty impressive. But however, it was Big Boom who pinned Carly Bravo. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. But however, of course, Shane Taylor Promotions, let's just say they are a bunch of crybabies who can't take a loss. They decided to retaliate. But thank God for Eddie Kingston, Old Manser, and of course Ortiz decided to show up, who has still unfinished business with them. So that's how things ended in the buyout. But however, Mick Foley and Renee Paquette once again are in the ring until MJF decided to get in his face, and then Darby Allin showed up too. And of course, Mick Foley admires Darby because he reminds him a bit of himself. We all know the kind of person Mick Foley was back in the day. I mean, who would have thought that Mick Foley looks at Darby Allin, he's like, you're just like me, kid. A bit of a risk taker. But that's all in the past. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen at our main event in Double or Nothing. So let's get started with the main card of this one. Now, we open up with an I Quit match for the AEW World Tag Team belts. Christian Cage and Adam Copeland once again teaming up, putting their tag team careers on the line. Basically, if they lose, they cannot team. They're facing against FTR. But of course, there was going to be a lot of plunder being involved. I mean, tables, chairs, ladders, whatever's being used. But the one thing that was amazing is they try to make Christian Cage tap out, and then he said, I effed your mother. I thought it was so hilarious, you know. And then, of course, when Stokely thought he had everything, well, let's just say the past has came back to bite him in the ass. Beth Phoenix took care of him, and of course, FTR decided to make her life a living hell. But what's crazy is Dax decided to use a table, put lighter fluid, and lit it on fire. And of course, the idea is that they're going to spear her through a burning table. Something that we all familiarize. If you guys remember, Copeland put Mick Foley through that. But however, Beth was able to move away at the last second, and dumbass Stokely got caught. And of course, both Stokely and Cash Wheeler were in fact, of course, taken out. But Dax was the last one standing. Later he tried to say to Copeland to quit. Then he got low blowed twice, one by Beth, one by Christian, and then spike power drive, and then of course a sharpshooter came in place by Christian, and then of course the crossface. But of course, Copeland had other ideas, so he told Beth Phoenix to bring in something, and it turned out to be Spike. and shoved it right there, and he just quit, and brand new AEW World Tag Team Champions. And just like that, it was completely over. Now, our next match is for the AEW International Championship. Kazuchika Okada defends it against Konosuke Takeshita. Now, these guys have been at each other's throats since day one. Now, Okada, for many of you may remember, been following, he always felt that he was above Takeshita, saying, Takeshita, you'll never be at the top level as me. And that was the whole point. Whatever victories Takeshita tried to do, well, he thinks, that's nothing. I'm better than him. Just like that. And they've been at this. And this is a mistake that Don Callis had created from the very beginning. You can't have two alphas in the same room, but he did. But luckily, this match, they took it outside. Even Don Callis was like, no, don't do this. But they went for it. And man, Takeshita pulled off an upset. He took out Okada with the Raging Fire. And then just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. However, the other members of the Don Callis family decided to take matters in their own hands to get even with Takeshita for what he did. And then, of course, Kyle Fletcher showed up. Now, we all thought that he was going to support Takeshita, but no, he attacked him. And just like that, they brutalized him. And I wouldn't be surprised that Kyle Fletcher would be the next person to challenge for the International Championship. That is my honest opinion, that I think we're going to go in that trajectory. That Takeshita has to pay the price, and Kyle Fletcher is the one who's probably being given the barking orders to bring back the International Championship back into, of course, the Don Callis family. Now, we first had our opening round of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament in the women's side. We have Mina Shirakawa versus Athena. Now, this was not the first time these two have faced off. Athena did defeat Mina one time before. And Athena is determined once again. As you know, she feels that she has to win this tournament to become AEW Women's Champion, to carry both titles and turn AEW into Athena Athena Elite Wrestling, something like that. That's what she wants to do. And of course, Mina did everything humanly possible to take her out, but it was the O-Face that became the deciding factor. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Athena picks up the win, which is a huge disappointing loss for Mina. But of course, the one thing is still unclear what's going to happen to Athena, because we have reason to believe that there is an interesting matchup that could happen, but we're going to wait up for that. Our next match is for the Continental Championship in a no time limit. Kyle O'Reilly, as you know, has a record of Jon Moxley with 2 wins, where he forced him to tap out. But Jon Moxley, as you know, he can't let that slide, knowing too well. He let this happen. He should have known. But he tells Kyle Fletcher, I am not the same. But it was a brutal match. I mean, it was deadly. You probably would have assumed that someone had to give by putting each other in a submission. But unfortunately, it was Jon Moxley that did so. But it was the ankle lock that set it up right there. And Kyle O'Reilly had no choice but to tap out, which was a huge loss for him. But I'm sure he'll get back on the high horse and hope to do it again. Now, our next 2 matches are the men's side of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Hold on a minute. Okay. Now, as I said before, we have 2 Owen Hart Foundation matches in the opening round from the men's side. First one, we have Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe. This was a match we were all hoping for as a dream match. However, story-wise, Samoa Joe, as you know, has unfinished business with Will Ospreay, because, as you know, recently, Will Ospreay lost to Jon Moxley, and now he's getting upset the fact, hey, Will Ospreay, did you forget what the Death Riders did to you? They nearly killed you for that. And you should have just sided with us. But, of course, he did tell him that consequences have, but, decisions, whatever he did. But anyway, it was a brutal match. And, of course, Joe knew there was only one way to take out Will Ospreay, by breaking his neck. Like the injury that he obtained that put him out for months. And that's exactly what he tried to do. And, of course, it took many times for Will Ospreay to apply the Hidden Blade, but however, his chance did came around when he applied the Hidden Blade, not once but twice in a row. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he picked up the win. So he could most likely be on his way to all in the UK. So we'll see what happens. Now, speaking of the Owen Tar tournament, we have Swerve Strickland and Bandito. These guys have been dealing with each other recently. Swerve has been chasing him for a long time. He was trying to prove he's a dangerous man. Bandito did everything humanly possible to defeat him, but however, it wasn't the case. But of course, Swerve was able to defeat him by applying the house call, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he advances in the tournament. Now, our next match is the AEW Women's Championship in a four-way. Hikaru Shida, Chris Statlander, Jamie Hayter, and of course our champion Thekla. However, there was an interesting situation in this match that you probably would have noticed. Chris Statlander has had it with Hikaru Shida's shenanigans. Now, Mina told Chris Statlander not to trust her. And of course, maybe Chris Statlander is starting to see, maybe Mina was right. There was a moment she had enough. So the obvious question is, was Mina right all along? Could she be the one responsible for what happened to Toni Storm? Or was her attitude was the problem of all it? She acted like, we got this, but it was more about her rather than a team, that sort of thing. But unfortunately, that didn't solve any problems for anybody, because it was Thekla who walked away with the win when she stomped Chris Statlander, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she retained the belt. Our next match is, of course, our semi-main event, the Stadium Stampede. We have on one side the Dogs, Clark Connors, David Finlay, along with members of Don Callis family, Andrade and Mark Davis, along with the Man, Ricochet, Tail Leona, and Bishop Khan, taking on a very interesting team up. And they used the song The Devil's Dance by Metallica, Chris Jericho, the Elite, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks, along with Jack Perry, and of course, We Hurt People, yep, the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. But this match was also chaotic. I mean, we did see Leo Rush showed up out of nowhere, and Bobby was like, what the hell? And of course, we did see tennis balls being used in this on Ricochet. I thought that was rather hilarious. Jack Perry tried to run over Mark Davis, but he missed. But the best moment I can't forget is when Andrade shoved someone up to Satnam Singh while he was eating. You do not do this while people eating. And then when he saw, he was like, oh shit. So he realized he screwed up. And then later it's like, food fight. I mean, we're back in high school, folks, and I thought it was hilarious. But the match was still intense. Best moment is, of course, Ricochet was getting his butt handed to him. But Bishop Khan decided to take a bullet. But he got 7 super kicks, and that became like a super kick party for everyone. But it was, of course, Jericho that picked up the win on Bishop Khan. 1, 2, 3, it was done. And I thought it was a fantastic match. A classic one, I have to say. Now, on to our main event is the AEW World Championship, MJF versus Darby Allin. As you all know, Darby Allin was the one who defeated MJF for this belt, and MJF's been trying. Now, however, if he loses, MJF gets his head shaved. And of course, we all want to see him bald. But man, MJF took it to the max. He did everything humanly possible to try to take out MJF. MJF tried to be resilient as he's always been. It's more like a death wish. But of course, I think MJF realized what it's going to take to put this guy down. He knew too well. You can take them. But however, we all would have assumed he would have used a spiled pile driver. Yeah, that would have been the obvious thing, he would have used the heat seeker. Obviously, that would have been something. But however, as you all remembered, it was MJF that used the side headlock onto MJF last time, because MJF did that the first time to him. And now he decided to do it again. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, MJF decided that he wants to finish off Darby Allin. And then here comes Kevin Knight in the help. But all of a sudden, what we did not anticipate, he jumped off the top turnbuckle and landed on Darby Allin. He just attacked him. We don't know what this is, but people are like saying, "Oh my God, he's turning heel." Even MJF was enjoying what he's saying. But I think the obvious question is the elephant in the room, and that is, of course, Mike Bailey. We have seen something like this before, but the real question of what's going to happen, I don't know. I guess we have to find out on Wednesday. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But right now, we are done with the review. Let's move on with our last thing to wrap up, news updates. Alright, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events. Now, as you know, we have Kitsune Women's Wrestling happening on the 26th of July with Stay With Me. They just announced another wrestler. I don't know who this person is, named Xochitl Fatal. I don't know if anybody knows her. If you do, leave a comment down below and tell me who she is. I'll look it up. And then, of course, we have the Produced by Orange Crush with their upcoming event, Volume 3, Asuka, that will happen on August 3rd. They just announced Violence is Forever. Dominic Guarini and, of course, Kevin Koo will be participating. This was a deal that was made. So can't wait to see how this happens. Now, that's pretty much it for upcoming events. Here are our recent developments. Let's start with AAA. Now, as you guys saw what happened in AAA this past Saturday, of course, they have a brand new general manager, and that general manager is Booyaka Booyaka. That's right, homeboy of San Diego, Rey Mysterio. He is now the new general manager. However, if you guys have been following, Rey Mysterio, before he took the position as GM, he was, of course, part of the commentary team at Fox, with Fox, of course. And now, because he's the general manager, they also announced that Savio Vega will be taking his spot in the commentary. He'll be doing the translation for everyone. So that's how it rolls up. Now, AEW has announced that Collision will be returning back this coming Saturday on May 30th to its regular location. As you know, they haven't had any shows, and because of other events happening. So that was the main reason why. Fightful selects that Jordynne Grace has passed her FFA Airman knowledge test, and congratulations. I didn't know she was doing that. We haven't seen her for quite some time in WWE. I know she's part of the main roster, but yeah. Darby Allin just revealed that he will be getting married before the Forbidden Door. Maybe that's the main reason he lost. Maybe he just wants to focus on his marriage. It would make sense. I mean, if that was the real case, it's understandable. But we won't know until it's 100% confirmed. Now, as you know, Stardom just had announced another event that will happen later called the Conversion. Let me pull that up for everyone. And that's going to happen, of course, on June 20th. Now, for those who have been following our two titles at the top, the Wonder of Stardom and the World of Stardom, Hanan has retained the belt, so was Sayaka Kurara. However, their opponents, Hanan chosen Saya Ida, and of course, Suzuki won this Fatal 4-Way #1 contender shop. I haven't seen Grand Dynasty yet, but I will be getting that. So that's already been a done deal. Thekla recently had an interview about, apparently it turns out that she knows how to speak 5 languages, which is very impressive. According to this, they say that she actually can speak German, English, Spanish, and Japanese, but the language is from her mother's home country in Georgia. Not the state of Georgia, the country. But she did say, so German is my main language. English, I lived in Spain, and Spanish is my third. Japanese, my mom is from Georgia. It's a little country next to Russia. They speak Georgian. It's another whole thing. So, yeah. And she even was asked about, surpassing Gunther, since they're both Austrian, if you guys know this. And she said this, that's a tight race, and I'm gonna say I usually put myself on the #1 spot, but I'm glad he's a guy. I'm a girl. We don't have actual race for that spot, but I think he can do shit that I can't do, and vice versa. But let's put it that way. So it's understandable. I mean, yes, there's not a lot of people from Austria. I mean, both Gunther and her are from that country. And I don't think there's a lot of Austrian wrestlers that we know of. But if there is, then maybe there'll be a category on that. So I think that's pretty much it right now. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. Now, I am going to determine to finish off with the remainings of the Best of the Super Juniors from New Japan. Try to watch Stardom, Grand Dynasty, and the Hana Kimura Memorial Show. So there's a lot of things I have to catch up with. But we'll see how things will go. But for now, we'll see how things will go for me because I don't want to strain on myself. But let's see. So as of right now, I will say this, that I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.